What's going on, swim fans? Welcome back to Whiteboard Wednesday, and in today's video, I'm going to share with you 5 different ways that you can build strong swimmer shoulders. This is a super important topic, so make sure you watch until the very end. Why is it important, you might ask? Because you want to have strong shoulders, not just for the physique and feeling very strong, but for injury prevention, because when we swim, we do the same motions over and over and over. And in this video, I'm going to share with you not only some exercises that you can do in the water, some specific drills to take your swimming to the next level, but also some things that you can do out of the water so you can have this holistic perspective. Now, if you guys are new here, welcome to MySwimPro. I share the latest and greatest to help you swim faster and smarter than ever before. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and let's get right into it. So number 1 is doing dynamic stretches and making sure that you have a proper warm-up. Now, this goes without saying for any type of physical activity, but especially when we're talking about a delicate area of the body like the shoulders. I mean, think about the shoulder. What is the shoulder joint anyway? It's the thing that connects your arms to the rest of your body. And when you swim, you're obviously engaging this group very, very, very often. I mean, think about how many strokes you take over the course of the length of a pool. If you take 10 to 15 strokes per length and you swim 100 lengths, you might be moving your arms thousands of times per workout. You multiply that over a week, a month, a year, you can literally be calculating that you move your arms millions of times over the course of your swimming career, your swimming journey. So even if you're just getting started, really, really important to have a proper warm-up and do that dynamic stretching. This is something that you do before the activity. And what this really does is it improves your mobility, it increases your heart rate, so that way you get the blood flowing. And so when you actually do the swim workout or do the Dryland workout, which we'll talk about, you actually set your body up for having a better performance, not only in terms of strength gains, but also in mobility and reducing your chances of injury. Now, you do this in the water as well as out of the water. So before you get in the water, you can do dynamic stretches, arm circles, dynamic shoulder stretching, dynamic dynamic tricep extensions, things like that, but also in the water. And this is my favorite flow for doing an in-water before you start your swim workout. And if you follow the MySwimPro app, you can get these workouts designed for you. But here's my overall workout structure for the swim warm-up. You're gonna start with some freestyle. Maybe that's a 500 freestyle, 200 freestyle, whatever. Do some freestyle easy. Then you're gonna do some kicking. Then you're gonna do a little bit of stroke work. So maybe individual medley, warming up all the different strokes, engages your arms and shoulders in different ways to really get that muscle activation. And then you do some drills. Now, speaking of drills, this is number 2, how you develop those strong shoulders. Now that you've got the warm up, you've got the blood flowing, the blood is active, the muscles are activated. Now you need to make sure you're doing some drills incorporated in the end of the warm up, or maybe it's a preset before the main set. And really there's 2 mistakes that we want to address, especially for freestyle. We're going to focus on freestyle. And number 1 mistake is crossing the midline of the body. So if you think about your body, it's symmetrical. If you have a laser cut your body right down the middle, when you stick your hand in the water, you want to make sure that your arm doesn't cross over that midline. Now, this applies for both arms, and this applies above and below the water, but oftentimes it's below the water that swimmers sort of mess this up. So you stick your hand in the water right in front of your shoulder, you reach out and you extend, and then you start to pull the water with that nice early vertical forearm, and it should pull in the same line as your shoulder. And oftentimes when swimmers breathe, that underarm slides underneath the body and you cross that midsection. So that's mistake number 1 that we want to address with swimming and also with drills. Mistake number 2 is swimming with a straight arm. Could be above the water or below the water. And the reason why we don't want to have a straight arm recovery or pull is because that adds a lot of added pressure on the shoulder, which can create injury. It's not going to make you stronger. Now, oftentimes, if you do have a very strong physique and you're very powerful out of the water, you can sort of muscle through the water, but that's not how you develop smart, strong swimmer shoulders. We want to have the right kind of muscles, the right kind of power. So you don't want to have a dropped elbow. And you fix that by having that early vertical forearm and really pulling the water with not only a straight arm, but bending that elbow so that way you pull the water from your fingertips all the way through your arm, your forearm, and into your elbow. And then you can pull the water with more surface area. I actually did a video on early vertical forearm specifically, thinking about doing another version of that. Make sure you check it out, link down below in the description. Maybe we'll pop it up right right here. And so these are the two mistakes that we want to address. Now, the drill that I recommend, there's a lot of drills that you can fix this with, but it's 3 strokes, 12 kicks. We have this in the MySwimPro app a lot. All you're doing is you're taking 3 freestyle strokes, and on the third, you're going to roll over onto your side, all the way on your side, you're going to take 12 kicks. Now, it's really important that you balance that arm in the same line as your body, in line with your shoulder. And that's how we address the first problem, the mistake of crossing over. Be very aware of where your arm is as you pause and as you initiate the catch to get into the next 3 strokes. And when you're doing those 3 strokes, really focus on having an early vertical forearm. Don't drop your elbow and have a straight arm. And so I love the drill, 3 strokes, 12 kicks. We use it in the MySwimPro app a lot. It is an absolutely fantastic drill. Now let's get into some dryland here. This is tip number 3, how you build strong swimmer shoulders. These are some things that you do out of the water. Swimmers, we call this dryland training. If you're coming from outside the swimming world, you might see dryland and you're like, what the heck is that? Basically, strength and conditioning that you're doing that is out of the water that may or may not involve any equipment. So for this scope of this, we're talking no equipment. One of my favorite exercises is something called scapular push-ups. This is something where you're basically in a plank position. It really strengthens the surrounding muscles of your shoulder, which prevents injury and builds the right strength, not only in your shoulder, but also in the back. And this is a great exercise that I love to do. I also love the alphabet. This is where you take a tennis ball or a big Swiss physio ball, you put it against the wall, and you actually draw out the alphabet. Make sure your shoulder blade is back. This really strengthens the stability element of your shoulder, which allow you to build another layer of muscles on top of that. But you can't do that unless you have a really solid foundation. And that foundation comes from stability. That's why the alphabet drill is fantastic for dryland, and also doing internal and external rotations. These can be done with just your body weight. These can be done with a can of soup, or they can be done with resistance bands or weights as well. But basically, being able to strengthen the surrounding joints of the shoulder will really help develop the strength that you need to have the confidence to continue to train and build muscle on that strong foundation. And then the third exercise I have here is the Swiss ball alternating Superman. This is where you actually lie down on the ground. You got a Swiss ball between your hands and your knees. This is really great for core stability as well. But even just dropping your arm from a straight arm position and not quite touching the ground is a really great way to focus on stability and not only build that strength, but help you out with that physique. And I love developing the swimmer's body, but that's not what this is about. It's all about improving the foundation so that way you can have the right strength layer and then you can improve your performance as well as your health. Speaking of your health, I want to thank today's video sponsor, Geology. Geology creates personalized skincare regimens for men. Whether you're new to skincare or you're a seasoned pro, Geology has something for you. Now, their products reduce dark circles and puffy eyes. They also reduce light acne, and they help reduce the fine lines and wrinkles and keep your skin moisturized between your swims. And as a swimmer, we all know this is super important. Now, I've been testing out their Essential Acne Kit, and it's been really, really awesome. And it's really simple, and it's a 2-step process that doesn't dry out your skin. And this is super important for me. I start out every day with the face wash, and this face wash actually has acne-fighting ingredients. And then I finish off the evening with the Repairing Night Cream, and it has a ton of ingredients that help my pores get clear and keep my skin moisturized. Now, I haven't always taken care of my skin in the best way. I've gotten kind of lazy and not really worried too much about it, but to be honest, this has been extremely beneficial for me. And I actually do notice the difference, and you know what? Other people notice the difference too, and they've been telling me about it. So that's definitely awesome. Now, if you want to give Geology a try, click the link in the description below to take their free skincare quiz. It only takes 30 seconds, and you'll get a personalized skin regimen designed just for you. The link below will also save you up to 40% of your first personalized trial set. And they've got great options for any budget, with some plans starting for as low as $20. Shout out to Geology for sponsoring this video and keeping my skin feeling nice and fresh. And make sure you check it out, link down below in the description. Let's get right into strength training. This is number 4. Now, building off of Dryland, what we already talked about, when we're thinking about strength training, now we're really developing some power and musculature on top of that foundation that we do in Dryland. So strength training, maybe we're adding in additional equipment, building on that resistance, and really building the strength in the supporting regions around the shoulder. We already talked about scapular push-ups, great exercise exercise, internal, external rotations. Here we're also talking about strengthening the rotator cuff. A few other exercises that you can do to actually build that strength and develop the physique of the swimmer's shoulder. Things like pull-ups, rows, any of these different things like shoulder raises that you can actually apply a little bit more resistance either with equipment or resistance bands or dumbbells, free weights, whatever, to actually develop that strength. And it will actually pay dividends when you go swimming. I mean, simple example for me, when I do good strength training for my shoulders, whether it's shoulder raises or on any of the machines, my backstroke feels way faster. My butterfly feels faster. I have more power when I come forward in my strokes. And so if you're not incorporating some level of strength training and you want to have those swimmer shoulders and you want to have healthy shoulders, you got to incorporate a little bit of strength training as well. And if you need training ideas with equipment or without equipment, we have Dryland Training in the MySwimPro app. Full training plans, and they'll guide you through it step by step, workout by workout. Number 5 is injury prevention. I've mentioned injury prevention at least 10 times so far in this video. There are 3 purposes of doing this. Number 1, it improves your technique. And if you improve your technique, you will actually reduce your chance for injury. And the way this works, like we talked about over here, where we were talking about 3 strokes, 12 kicks, and reducing these mistakes of the crossover, the midline, and also reducing the straight arm pull with the early vertical forearm. When you focus on technique, you're setting your muscles up in a more efficient way. So that way when you pull, you're not putting unnecessary stress on them. And that's how you get injured. And so by understanding how you actually get injured, by basically placing unnecessary repetitive stress on the joint, on the muscle groups, if we can avoid that by improving our technique, then we're not going to have the sticky situation of having any injuries. Now, we can't 100% prevent our chance of injury just by improving technique, because there's other things that we can do to increase that percent. The second thing we can do is actually increasing our strength. We've already talked about this in a number of different ways, whether it's doing these dryland exercises, doing things in the water, doing these different strength exercises. That's another way that we can actually reduce our chance of injury. And then the third is focusing on recovery. And I'm actually gonna add a bonus one in here, focusing on being consistent, because this is something that actually messes up a lot of swimmers, beginners or advanced. If you don't have a very consistent routine, your body doesn't really know what's going on. So if you train, 4 times a week and then you take a week off and then you get back into it 5 times a week, or you go 3 times a week, you stop, 3 times a week, right? If you don't have a routine, your body is never able to adjust and acclimate and then also build and have that compounding growth on your muscles, on your joints, on your lifestyle, as well as on your routine. So it's very, very important to have that consistency, and that will help prevent injury. And by preventing injury, being able to be more consistent, that's how you can develop swimming shoulders. Now, a bonus here is make sure you have that structured training. I talk about having that consistency being really important. Well, how do you get consistency? Maybe you train on your own. Maybe you're not really sure what to do on the dryland side of things. You've got a swim coach, no dryland coach. That's okay. No pool, no excuses. No dryland coach, no excuses. No swim coach, no excuses. Make sure you check out the MySwimPro app. We have tons of different training programs that help you do a few things. Increase your resistance and your strength. So if you're doing dryland training exercises, we've got them lined up for you with equipment or without equipment, medicine ball, stretch cords, all sorts of stuff incorporated in the dryland training programs. And also things that develop your strength and your technique and build progression over time, because that is how you take your swimming or anything to the next level when you have that kind of progression. So make sure you download the MySwimPro app, follow a training program, and if you're not in the MySwimPro Global Community Group, Facebook group, online, I'm in there. It's a VIP group, 100% free to join. And of course, if you haven't checked out my new book, Swim Like a Pro, it is a holistic training guide. I talk about injury prevention. I have a whole chapter about dryland training as well. And I have a whole chapter on each different part of technique, freestyle, backstroke, butterfly, underwater dolphin kick as well. So make sure you check it out. Linked in the description below, and also check out today's video sponsor. I wish you guys the best. Happy swimming, and I'll see you guys at the next video. Peace.